On the news, Muslim faithful mark Eid al-Maulud. Your days are numbered, President Buhari tells bandits. And global piracy incidents fall to lowest level in 17 years. We're glad to have you join us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. As Muslim faithful all over the world celebrate Eid al-Maulud, which is the birth of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, President Muhammadu Buhari has facilitated with Muslims, Nigerians of all faiths and the followers of Islam all over the world. Buhari, in a statement by Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, urged Muslims to strive for forgiveness and closeness to the noble life and teachings of the Holy Prophet, whose birthday is being celebrated. Also in his goodwill message, Senate President Hamad Lawan said the occasion should remind Muslims and all people of faith of the virtues of peaceful coexistence, love and tolerance as taught and lived by the Holy Prophet. Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his Adamawa counterpart Hamad Fintiri, in a separate statement, also charged Muslim faithful on the need to imbibe the virtues of humility, sacrifice and sharing of Prophet Muhammad. But the Eid al-Maulud is celebrated annually, with many countries, including Nigeria, designating it as a national holiday. But joining us on the news to tell us more on the significance of the celebration is Musa Mohammed Kamaluddin, the Chief Imam, Lower Niger River Basin Development Authority in Ilorin, Kwara State. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Now, what is the religious significance of this day to the Islamic faith, and ideally, how should it be celebrated?
Islam, like every other religion, the Prophet ﷺ was the one in which the religion was sent with by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator. The Prophet ﷺ was said to have been born on this day, the 12th of Rabiul Awal, that is the lunar calendar. And to the Muslim, it's a day to demonstrate our loves and veneration for these noblest apostles ﷺ. The best way in which to celebrate the birth of the Prophet ﷺ is to follow the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ. According to the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was recorded to have said, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, ma ataakum ar-rasul fakhudhuhu wa ma nahakum anhu fantahu." Whatever the Prophet ﷺ has taught and asked you to do, you should endeavor to do it. And whatever he asks you not to do, you should desist from it. So the best way to celebrate the birth of the Prophet ﷺ is to practice the teachings of the Prophet. And what is that? The Prophet taught love, humility, to be kind to our neighbors. The Prophet was indeed sent as a blessing to the entire mankind. He was sent with a universal message to humanity. So the Prophet was reported to have said, "La yu'minu ahadukum hatta yuhibba li akhihi ma yuhibbu li nafsihi." You cannot call yourself a Muslim until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. In Nigeria as a whole, we should imbibe the culture of the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ, be a brother's keeper, love one another, cultivate the habit of protecting our blood, protecting one another. If you truly believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you follow this Prophet we're talking about, you know that it's you should never shed the blood of a fellow human being. It is not allowed.
Sorry to interrupt you here, but what is your charge now to Muslim faithful and indeed Nigerians, particularly in the face of the current challenges the country is dealing with now?
Well, to the Muslim faithfuls, I'll tell them, as we have all known and we have learned, that we should follow the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ. Like I said, he taught peace, unity. The Prophet ﷺ has way for non-believers. If you are not a Muslim, they are catered for in Islam. We should imbibe this culture. In Nigeria now, we should be prayerful. We know the country is at the verge of lots of challenges. We should stand up to these challenges and imbibe the teachings and culture of Islam. What the Prophet ﷺ has asked us to do, we should reflect on his teachings. We should continue to be our brother's keepers. We should make sure we protect our health. We do things that are healthy. We encourage Tawheed, and we go by what the Quran has taught us. And I think if we should go by this, Nigeria will be peaceful. Nigeria will enjoy these the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just like it did back in the days when there were the Jews lived and other Christians alike lived under the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were protected. They were
well, I'm sorry to cut you short here, but Chief Imam Musa Mohammed Kamaluddin, thank you so much for your contributions on News Now. Well, moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari has sent a strong message to bandits, saying their days are numbered and they will no longer have a place to hide. Buhari disclosed this in a statement released by his media aide, Garba Shehu, in which he condemned the killing of over 40 persons in Goronyo township of Sokoto State. According to the president, the bandits are living in the fool's paradise of invisibility, but reality will soon dawn on them harder than ever before, with sustained offensive by security forces. Buhari further appealed to all Nigerians not to despair because his administration is determined to protect citizens from murderous criminal gangs that have no respect for the sanctity of human life. The United States has announced its plans to partner with Nigeria on a G7 infrastructure program known as the Build Back Better World. White House Deputy National Security Advisor Jonathan Finer disclosed this during a visit to the presidential villa in Abuja on Monday, where he was received by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. Osinbajo's media aide, Laolu Akonde, said in a statement that Finer explained that the program formed by President Joe Biden in June this year involves bringing together a range of funding sources, development finance and private sector to work with key partner countries to develop their infrastructure and fill existing gap in infrastructure needs. According to the statement, Osinbajo also took the opportunity to express the federal government's gratitude to the U.S. for donating over 3.5 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines to Nigeria. Well, Nigerians have been reminded of the sacrifices of the country's founding fathers and the ultimate price they paid for national unity. Renowned human rights activists and frontline leaders of thought gave the charge at a memorial event for late journalist Dele Giwa and the #EndSARS protest of last year. Our correspondent Mujisola Matomi tells us more.
October 19, 2021 makes it 35 years since renowned journalist Dele Giwa was gruesomely murdered through a pastel bomb in his Lagos residence. Coincidentally, his remembrance also comes at a time Nigeria is marking the one-year anniversary of one of the country's biggest protests in recent history, the #EndSARS protest. In honor of both events, the African Center for Media and Information Literacy, AFRICMIL, in collaboration with the Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism, is holding a lecture and public presentation of a book titled Remaking Nigeria, 60 Years, 60 Voices. The event themed 1 year after #EndSARS, 35 years after Dele Giwa, and the quest to remake Nigeria cast a critical eye on both incidents.
One of the things that the EndSARS showed to us is the potential of the youth. The fact that we have a group of people with who has very good potential to remake Nigeria, to rebuild Nigeria. And by coming out at that time to show that, to protest in that regard, in a very organized way, the potential of the youth, we need to explore it in a way, that would, satisfy, the needs of the nation.
One of the tragedies of the Nigerian condition is that we've turned the whole idea of democracy upside down. Democracy is supposed to be people holding governments accountable. Until we can make governments fear the people, we don't have a democracy.
Panelists also advised Nigerian youth on how to ensure all their demands are met by the government.
At some point, we needed people who could interface, people who could articulate the demand that we had. And the government saw that they had nobody to talk to. That was why, to some extent, the protest continued. But that was also why some of the things that happened. So my hope is that the next EndSARS, because I tell you, we are talking about EndSARS. SARS has not ended. In the minds of young people, SARS represents the symbol of oppression.
Editor of the newly launched book Remaking Nigeria, 60 Years, 60 Voices, Chido Onuma, also urged youth not to relent in the fight against bad governance and struggle for accountability.
We look forward to a very robust engagement with young people going forward, with people with the hindsight of EndSARS, and SARS was a catalyst. It showed the power of youth advocacy, or not just the power of youth advocacy, the power of young people to make demands and ensure that those demands are listened to.
The 437 pages book written by young Nigerians reflects on nation building and provides solutions to the issues threatening the nation's democracy. Mojisola Matomi, TV360, Lagos.
Well, meanwhile, the Lagos State Judicial Panel on Restitution for Victims of SARS-related abuses and other matters has concluded its sitting 1 year after it was inaugurated by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. The Judicial Panel, which was set up on October 19, 2020, was mandated to investigate cases of brutality and human rights abuses by police and its disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad (SAS), as well as the Lekki Tollgate incident of October 20, 2020. At its valedictory sitting on Monday, Chairman of the panel, Justice Doris Okuobi, who read out the decisions of the panel, announced that the award of 148.2 million naira to 23 deserving petitioners. Justice Okuobi also revealed that the panel has concluded its investigations into the shooting at the Lekki Tollgate and is working on its report, which will be submitted to the state government, which will then be made public. Well, joining us on the news to speak more on this is Nelson Ekujumi, a human rights and political activist who will monitor the entire proceedings of the judicial panel. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Now, Nelson, it's been 1 whole year of hard work. Are you pleased with the way the panel eventually wound down? And would you say that indeed it was a transparent process?
Oh, thank you very much. It's a statement of fact that the judicial panel in Lagos State did a thorough, professional, unbiased, and diligent job. The panel was very, very thorough in its assignment. And this can be seen in the fact that the panel allowed all parties to give testimonies. It was a panel in which there was no holds barred. There was no area that a petitioner would not go to. Petitioners went to all lengths to, ventilate their grievances. And the panel also allowed the respondents the opportunity to respond. That tells you clearly that that was justice, that was fair play in action. The panel, in the discharge of its responsibility, also took testimonies from experts to throw light on areas that the panel needed light to be thrown on. And at the end of the day, you saw the panel gave awards to persons that proved their cases beyond reasonable doubt. And for cases that were unproven, those cases were struck out in line with, the tenets of justice. The panel showed clearly that it was a panel that meant business. And that could be seen in the fact that a lot of cases came to the panel. And the petitioners that came to the panel, as well as the Nigerian Bar Association, which had the representation at the panel all through, is a testimonial to the confidence reposed in the panel. And at the end of the exercise, the stakeholders paid glowing tributes to the panel chairman and its members, that this was a panel made up of credible Nigerians that had made their mark in their various fields of endeavor. And in the discharge of its duty in the last 1 year, the panel has not disappointed. The panel has
now, I'm sorry to cut you short here. Some other activists have said that they were disappointed that the much anticipated report of the panel on the Lekki Tollgate incident was not presented at the conclusion of proceeding, and no definite date has been given on when it will be released. Do you feel the same way?
No, I don't feel the same way. The panel, whether the panel is sitting or the panel has concluded its public sitting, the panel made it clear yesterday that even after conducting its public sitting, it is still going to sit to collate its report that has to be sent to the National Economic Council, which was the mother organ that directed all states of the Federation to set up judicial panel. And with regards to the NSAS Lekki Tollgate incident, the panel made it very clear that she had finished receiving testimonies from all parties, including experts who were invited, medical experts, forensic experts, pathologists were invited to give testimony to clear gray areas, so that the panel can arrive at a just and fair conclusion. If any person says he or she is disappointed, well, that is that person's opinion, and there's nothing I, Nelson Ekudumi, can do about it. But for me and millions of those who monitor the
I'm
panel,
very sorry, but it's this much we can take on that matter. Well, thank you so much for your contributions. Nelson Ekudumi, human rights and political activist, many thanks for your time. Well, let's take a break here, but still to come. UN report shows over 100 million people in Africa are threatened by climate change. Details of this story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a reminder of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari has sent a strong message to bandits, saying their days are numbered and they will no longer have a place to hide. In a statement condemning the Goronyo attack in Sokoto State, Buhari said bandits are living in the fool's paradise of invisibility, but with sustained offensive by security forces, reality will soon dawn on them harder than ever before. We also told you that the United States has announced its plans to partner with Nigeria on a G7 infrastructure program known as the Build Back Better World. White House Deputy National Security Advisor Jonathan Raffiner, during a visit to the presidential villa in Abuja, explained that the program, formed by President Joe Biden in June this year, involves bringing together a range of funding sources, development finance and private sector to work with key partner countries to develop their infrastructure and fill existing gaps in infrastructure needs. And in case you missed any of our news bulletin, for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are at TV360 Online. Parliament of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOPAL, has urged citizens of member states to disregard any negative news of the COVID-19 vaccine. The Speaker of the Parliament, Sidi Tunis, made the call on Monday at the opening of the second extraordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament in Winneba, Ghana. Tunis also urged citizens to disregard all negative information about the vaccines as conspiracy theories meant to create fear.
We continue to examine the COVID-19 pandemic more closely, and as a parliament, we are very concerned about our region falling deeper into recession because of the pandemic, which would ultimately erase the progress we have made over the past 2 decades. As it stands, the third wave of the pandemic seems to be stabilizing across our states, but cases are still high. On the vaccine front, more doses are getting into arms daily, and we seize this moment to appreciate our partners under the COVAX initiative and friendly governments that have donated doses of African countries. However, the percentage of African population fully vaccinated, which is a little over 2.47%, according to the Africa Center for Disease Control, is appallingly low compared to those unvaccinated. Much as the unavailability of the vaccine is an issue to consider, we also frown at the conspiracy theories that have created fear of the vaccine in our population. I therefore wish to use this podium, as I've always done, to send a clear message to our citizens that the vaccines are safe and should be taken once they are available.
The World Health Organization, WHO, says owing to the devastating impact of COVID-19, there is need to strengthen and build resilient health systems. The WHO Director General, Tedros Ghebreyesus, at a briefing on Tuesday, emphasized the need to learn from previous pandemics, yet that the fight against COVID-19 has impacted on the goals of the Global Health Organization.
Resilient health systems built on robust primary health care are a vital first line of defense against outbreaks with epidemic and pandemic potential. But they're also essential for promoting health, preventing communicable and non-communicable diseases, and for reducing inequalities and inequities. In practice, this means a resilient health system that has earned the trust of the communities it serves, is well prepared, well resourced, and flexible enough to absorb the impact of disruptive events and maintain safe health services. And of course, it means a well-paid, well-trained, and well-supplied health workforce. The position paper we're launching today articulates WHO's vision for the recovery of health systems as central to socio-economic recovery and development.
We'll take a breather here and return with more stories and business. To stay with us. Welcome back. Well, up next is Business News with Mary Kanu. Over to you, Mary.
Well, thank you, Folashade. And now in business, the Nigerian Senate has mandated its standing committees to submit their reports to the Appropriation Committee on November 24, 2021. This is contained in the approved timetable for the consideration of the 2022 appropriation bill released by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriation, Barau Jibril, after a meeting with all the standing committee chairmen. Barau said the meeting is in line with the guiding principle of budget hearing.
At the beginning of each appropriation process, the Committee on Appropriations normally hold a meeting with all the subcommittees in order to intimate the committees about the content of the guideline for the processing of the bill, and also the timetable. I said earlier, the content of the timetable. And then, of course, the content of the guideline, because we have a compendium or a paper that contains all that is needed, all that every subcommittee should do in processing the bill. So we call it the guideline. So we always present the guideline to the subcommittees, and that's what we did today. So now, you have the timetable, and in line with the timetable, the consideration and passage of the bill will be between Wednesday, 15th day of December, and 16th, that is Thursday, 16th day of December 2021. So that's the day we are going to, in between these 2 days, we will consider and pass the 2022 appropriation bill.
A latest report by the International Maritime Bureau, IMB, has shown that global piracy cases have dropped to the lowest level since 1994. According to the report, the Gulf of Guinea region recorded 28 incidents of piracy and armed robbery in the first 9 months of 2021, in comparison to 46 for the same period in 2020, with the Nigerian area recording only 4 related cases for the same period. The report added that the overall reduction of piracy and armed robbery incidents in the region is a testament to enhanced maritime security and response coordination measures adopted by regional and national authorities. The IMB, however, warns that seafarers must remain vigilant as violence against crew remains high in many areas of the world. Well, that's the latest update on business news. Folashade, over to you now.
Well, thank you so much, Mary, for that update. Now on the foreign scene, a new report by the United Nations has warned that more than 100 million extremely poor people across Africa are threatened by accelerating climate change that could also melt away the continent's few glaciers within 2 decades. The report, released on Tuesday by the World Meteorological Organization, presented a reminder that Africa's 1.3 billion people remain vulnerable as the continent warms more and at a faster rate than the global average. Despite the 54 African countries countries responsible for less than 4% of greenhouse gas emissions worldwide, the UN estimates that by 2030, up to 118 million poor people will be exposed to drought, floods and extreme heat in Africa if adequate response measures are not put in place. Well, up next is Entertainment Report.
Nigerian singer Yemi Alade has performed at the first ever Earthshot Prize ceremony at the Alexandra Palace in London. Speaking after her performance at the event, Yemi Alade said she was honored to have been invited by the royal family to perform alongside world-renowned musical geniuses and meeting other celebrities, including hosts the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. The exclusive and globally broadcast event was organized by the Royal Foundation, which is led by Prince William of the British royal family, and recognizes innovative solutions to the world's environmental challenges. Popular Nollywood actor Kunle Remi, who is also the taskmaster of one of Nigeria's most anticipated survival reality TV shows, Golda Ultimate Search, has revealed what he did to get the job. In a recent interview, Remi noted that he simply prayed to God and in due time his prayer was answered. He also revealed that exactly 11 years ago he entered the jungle as a contestant on the show. Fast forward to today, he is entering the jungle at a higher level as taskmaster. In a major schedule reshuffling, Disney has changed the theatrical release date of 6 different Marvel movies, including the much-anticipated Wakanda Forever sequel, reportedly due to slight changes in production. Principal photography for Wakanda Forever kicked off months ago, with major stars from the original film spotted on set. While plot details remain top secret, the film, which is still in production, will wrap up sometime in November. And that's all there is on the entertainment segment of News Now.
Now, away from entertainment and now to sports. 1 week after the women national basketball team, the Tigers, released a video online accusing the leadership of the Nigeria Basketball Federation of owing the team a backlog of allowances from 2017. No action has been taken to resolve the situation. With what seems to be graveyard silence in response to the issues raised by the team, our sports correspondent, Jide Olaniro, in his report takes a look at the chain of events that have taken place since the video was released.
The 4 minutes 11 seconds video released by members of the national women's basketball team, the Tigers, has triggered a chain reaction. In that video, the leadership of the Nigerian Basketball Federation was accused of owing backlog of training camp and tournament allowances, which dates back to 2017.
All money owed to players, officials, and vendors, adequate travel to competitions, and a team manager for all team functions. If these demands are not met, with all due respect to the presidency, the NBBF, and the ministry, all the Tigers players will not be reporting to the FIBA World Cup tournament in 2022 in February.
A member of the outgone board of the NBBF feels the girls' reaction was ill-timed and politically motivated.
They said the federation is owing them. There is a way. There is a team captain. There is Ministry of Sports. They can write. Why going to the social media? They are playing to the gallery.
As allegations were being traded, one of the anti-graft agencies in the country also beamed its searchlight on the Basketball Federation while the outrage persists.
This is like a pile-up of backlog of salaries and, let's say, allowances and bonuses. And then the Tokyo grants, and you have major banks who made donations to them for qualifying for the Olympics. So it's disappointing to have your African champions get to come out on social media. You don't want to see this happen. But do their complaints, are they genuine? Yes.
Also caught in the web of the raging storm is the current Minister of Sports, Mr. Sunday Dare, and his predecessor, Solomon Dalong.
The ministry was waiting for the account numbers of the male basketball players so that money can be sent. These are foreign account numbers. The CBN, it's better to treat all of these accounts in this transfer as a single transfer because of the processes, the documentation, and all of that. And that's what has been ongoing.
The girl did the country proud, becoming the first African country in 100 years in basketball to qualify to quarterfinals. So when we came back, I approached the president again, and the president graciously approved 1 billion naira, covering the cost of preparation and participation for the World Cup. I kept pursuing it, and the funds were not released until when I left office. So passing the buck of the blame to me, yes, it all started under my watch, but I did my own part of the bargain.
At the center of this crisis is the man, Musa Kida, the outgone president of the NBBF, whom the D-Tigress are holding responsible for their plight. What appears to be a storm in the teacup will likely not go away until something is done about the gaping hole created by lack of transparency in administering funds meant for the welfare of athletes. Jide Olaniro, TV360 Nigeria.
And it's a wrap on our news bulletin on News Now. Thank you for watching. I am Fola Shadi. Or Green Day. Bye for now.